Hello everyone. Don't mind me as I snack and chat on to you about how I feel about being an INFP. And the thing about INFPs is we will put ourselves in this perfectionist circle, but the thing is the only ones in it are ourselves. So we've created like this ideal standard that we feel like we need to live by, other people need to live by, and that we're all supposed to live up to. And we go into this little circle and we just self-perfect. We try to become the standard as best as we can, a model citizen. And excuse me. I remember what I was trying to say. We are in our perfectionist circle and we're trying to perfect ourselves and make ourselves model citizens, because there's this aspect of where I'm keeping myself over here away from the pack because I'm not perfect enough to be in the pack in the first place, is one aspect. And another aspect is I don't trust them because of their moral standards, because they're not compatible with my perfectionism or the ways I've ironed out my issues and made myself perfect. So this is how we pulled ourselves away, is through our high moral standards and our perfectionism. And so how do we like join in with everybody else and not lose who we are, because who we are is really important. Every individual, who they are, is so important, that they're authentic to who they are. You all know that and value that and prioritize that. And especially if you're an INFP, there's like no way you ever wanted to like give up that part of yourself, of course. I feel ya. Everyone and everything never seems to be what it's made out to be. And this is the hard part, the hard reality of being an INFP that like sucks to admit. And I'm sure all of you feel this, and this is probably your greatest source of shame as an INFP. But we create these really idealistic ideas of people, of who they are, what they're going to fulfill, who they're going to be in our lives. We imagine our lives till our death. Like we have it all, like this whole vision in our mind of what life is going to be. And we come to find that in reality, when we're talking with people, as we get to know them and put effort towards building a real relationship, their standards and our standards don't seem to line up. And we find ourselves super disappointed and frustrated, wondering why other people don't prioritize the same morals as we do, or don't have the same hopes and dreams for us in terms of romance. For example, in a relationship, we could totally have this idea of what a relationship should be like, and another person has another idea. When you get together with them or you pursue this romantic interest, you come to find, whoa, we're not on the same page here. You don't think in the same idealistic way that I do. And you come to have a reality check moment of like, holy crap, I'm not living in reality. I'm like totally creating like this weird BS idea and dream of what I want, and this is actually embarrassing because you suddenly feel like found out, like, oh my gosh, you know that I've like dreamt my whole life with you. And like, trust me, they don't actually know that, but it feels that dramatic. You're like, oh my gosh. You feel terribly embarrassed. You feel completely disappointed in the circumstances. You get bitter and resentful towards them because you wish that they had done better, done differently. You get embarrassed and angry at yourself and wish you had done better and done differently. And this goes literally, I mean, this is romance is one example, but I've done this with my parents and my brothers. I've done this in so many relationships with friends, even just kind of had like an ideal image of how I wanted things to go and to be, and came to find myself so disappointed in the circumstances, and disappointed that I even in the first place was, I don't know, arrogant enough or controlling enough or weird enough. I don't know if you guys have ever felt those things about yourself, I hope not, but just to come up with this weird reality and idealistic dream of how this relationship would be or become, or how things would play out in my life. So this is why perfectionism and idealism for an INFP is something that we kind of gotta pull out of. And I'm not saying it all together is a bad thing. It's not something to condemn about ourselves at all either. it's a really powerful thing. It's a gift from God, who we are and how we're made, for sure. So just always remember that, and don't ever condemn yourself. It's just we gotta shift the way we use our energy in a way that is more self-loving, grace-giving, and kind to ourselves and kind to others, and let life be as it is. Because we're gonna miss life if we're always living in the future. We're gonna miss life if we're always dreaming what it could be rather than what it just is. And so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about here. So, step one, girl. Reality check. The first thing that I want you to do is to get depressed. Yep. I said it. Get depressed. Yep. Get depressed about the fact that you are imperfect and this world is imperfect. Like, genuinely, actually, let yourself get depressed about it. Just get bummed. Just sit down, pause this video, sit down, stare at a blank wall, stare into the abyss, and realize that you literally are imperfect as a human being, and you will never be able to reach that standard. This world is completely imperfect, and it will never be able to reach that standard. I even write down, like, getting real with yourself, and this is where grace for yourself matters. Like, you probably don't want to admit the fact that maybe you've had some idealistic views and values about how life would go. Trust me, I've totally done that too, and you don't want to face it. That's totally understandable. Maybe it's not time yet, but at some point I encourage you to get a pen and a paper, or paper and a pen, and write down all of the things that you kind of think, the ways that you believe life should be. And then you're going to stare at that and then look at it and be like, I'm not going to meet this. No person in my life is going to meet this, and life isn't going to meet this standard. And burn it, shred it, throw it in the toilet, do whatever you want to it, but destroy it, and never look at it ever again, because those are expectations and you're going to get your life disappointed. So this is where the hope comes in it. Basically, the good news is God has a plan for your life, and like, the way that life works, whether you have faith or not in God, like, the universe, when you look at life, it has a way of figuring things out on its own. It has a plan of itself, a mind of itself. And like, if you look at how just freaking this world came to existence, our freaking solar systems, our ecosystems, molecules, to a molecular level, it's ridiculous, the design in our world. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I personally believe God is completely behind everything that is orchestrated here on Earth. And so this is where, like, in my own journey, I came to this conclusion, like, and I'm still trying to, like, totally meditate on this and make this part of who I am. It's not like I'm perfect at all. But taking this idea that this world, like, God has a plan in it. Like, whatever you think it is, the universe, whatever, has a plan in it. Like, God is moving. There's a time and specific place for everything to happen. There's like a whole story. There's like this greater author over our lives that, and his name is God. Like, he is just writing this massive story about us and intertwining it in it. Intertwining us in it. And life is beautiful. Life as it is right now, and the here and now is beautiful, INFP, and you don't want to miss out on it at all. I would say take your expectations, shred them, burn them, get rid of them, and let life be as it is.